The route between Boston and New York City is one of the most heavily traveled in all of the United States. It is a very profitable route for airlines, buses, and trains, with frequent travel between those cities by business people, students, locals, and tourists. These two iconic cities are only about 200 miles apart, and personally I love them both for very different reasons of what makes each city so unique. Only an hour on a flight or about a 4-hour ride by train or automobile. That is, if you get lucky with our wonderful traffic and our slow New England 65-mile-an-hour speed limits. Today we're taking my new favorite way to travel the Northeast, the Amtrak Acela. Back in the early 1990s, Amtrak began testing high-speed European trains on our railways. And in 2000, the Acela was introduced as Amtrak's flagship high-speed train connecting Boston to Washington, D.C. There are 16 stops along the way in cities such as Providence, New York City, Philadelphia, and Baltimore, just to name a few. And the Acela is capable of reaching up to 150 miles an hour on certain faster stretches of track. The new Acela trains being introduced now can even reach 160 miles an hour, or 260 kilometers per hour, which is even slightly faster than I drove on the Autobahn. This was filmed back in September of 2020, and because of the pandemic, I happen to be the only passenger in the first class car for the entire ride. In this video, we'll see what that was like and enjoy some of the sights along the way. Later on in the video, I'll show you how I booked the trip, how you could save money booking your own Amtrak adventures, or how you could take advantage of the Amtrak Guest Rewards points for free travel. Yo, I'm Jeff, and I believe the journey is half the fun. We start the journey this afternoon at Boston's South Station, the northern terminus of the Acela network. If you're traveling in Acela first class or in one of Amtrak's sleeping cars on other trains, you can access the Amtrak Metropolitan Lounge. While food and drink service was limited during this trip, I was really impressed with the modern design and how well it complemented the historic architecture of South Station. The comfortable and quiet atmosphere was a really great start to this journey. Before long, someone came along and let me know I could now board the train. It was approximately 20 minutes before our departure, and I believe I was the first on board. The Acela operates two classes of service. The first car all the way at the front features 1 to 2 seating in first class. The rest of the cars feature 2 and 2 seating in business class, and there's also a dining car as well. Business class also offers a quiet cabin, so if you don't want to hear annoying phone conversations like people's FaceTime calls or chatter going on, that's a great place to sit. There are also tables available in groups of 4 throughout each section of the train, which is fantastic if you're traveling with a small group, or in this case, during a pandemic, all by yourself. First class service includes food and drinks. Although service was limited during this trip, there was a really great snack box available, and fortunately things are almost back to normal with Amtrak now. Despite reaching speeds of up to 150 miles an hour, the average speed of the Acela network is about 70 miles an hour once you factor in the stops and slower sections of track along the way.
Coming up 20 minutes. We'll be Providence, Rhode Island. Providence, all doors on one side of the train will open.
This video is sponsored by Ready Set Film, which happens to be my award-winning video production company. Since 2009, we have helped businesses, newlyweds, and nonprofits with exceptionally high-quality films and video content for both TV, the web, social media, and more. Learn more by heading over to ReadySetFilm.com. Before I knew it, we were pulling out of Providence. At the time I filmed this, Massachusetts had very strict travel restrictions. However, New York was at the time exempt from testing and quarantine requirements. However, Rhode Island was not exempt, but travel through the state, such as this, was permitted. The trains do have a really great air filtration system similar to what you'll find on an airplane, and they had been blocking seats, I believe, until just May of 2021.
Very first car is first class. You must have a first class ticket to sit in that car. Directly behind that is a quiet car. Quiet car, library-like atmosphere. No talking on your cell phone. Cafe car is located in the middle of the train today and is completely cashless. You may order and bring it back to your seat.
As our train left Providence, we were told it would be a nice 90-minute ride before our next stop in New Haven.
Next stop, hour and a half, New Haven, Connecticut.
I enjoyed my snack box and discovered they had one of my favorite drinks available, an old fashioned. I don't drink too often, but when I do, I really enjoy a properly made old fashioned or a deliciously crafted Long Island iced tea. Go big or go home, right? Anyway, back to the train. The thing that I enjoyed second most about this whole journey was the scenery. The movement of the train and a clear schedule for the rest of the day, and probably that old fashioned that I had, helped make this a quite enjoyable and relaxing trip. Sure, it does take a bit longer than flying, but the experience sure is a lot more laid back and a lot more comfortable. So now I invite you to sit back and enjoy some of the sights. Or if you're just ready to wrap up this video, feel free to skip ahead to the end. You control your experience here on this channel. You do you.
Put on a record, honey, feel the pain. You never know until you hear the train. Tonight we're living on tomorrow's stray hours. Tonight I love you till those pictures hang. Tonight I love you as the colors change. Tonight I love you till you slip away.
Now, what I enjoyed the most about this whole experience was having a great conversation with the first class attendant. This gentleman had been working with them a really long time and was still incredibly passionate about what he did every day. He also shared some really great stories about some of his favorite celebrities and politicians that he's met along the way. Great travel experiences require great people, and when you have people who are really passionate about what they are doing and offer really great service, it can make for incredible memories and really help create loyal fans. Now on to how I booked this. Today's fare costs $210 one way, booked directly on Amtrak.com. I am also an Amtrak Guest Rewards member, so I received some points for the trip which can be redeemed for future travel. Although you can't transfer points to Amtrak from a travel rewards card like my favorite one from the American Express link below, you can sign up for an Amtrak credit card, which has a 20,000 bonus point offer and additional perks that might be valuable to frequent Amtrak travelers. Now, once you sign up as a Guest Rewards member, you'll get some occasional emails from Amtrak, which will feature some of the great deals on travel that they have. More recently, Amanda and I took advantage of a $39 sale that Amtrak had all the way from Boston to Washington, D.C. in Acela business class. I actually learned about that from subscribing to their newsletter, and I also saw it on their Instagram and shared it on mine too. So if you'd like to learn about some of the travel tips that I share, feel free to follow me on Instagram at hdjeff_travels.
I cut my teeth till I taste the way. My empty mouth finds the words to say.
On the way home, I flew on Delta from LaGuardia Airport back to Boston, and I was actually one of only 2 passengers on the flight. Despite that being the case, this was pretty unremarkable. I had booked the flight totally for free because at the time, American Express had a $200 travel credit that they were offering through the Platinum card. I thought I might compare the two, but there's really no comparison, and given the choice, if I had the time, I would definitely choose Amtrak. I've noticed a lot of very positive buzz about Amtrak recently in the travel community, and I'm excited for the future of train travel here in the US. There's also some really great news in Florida, where the Brightline high-speed train is expanding their network from South Florida to connect Orlando with the airport, Disney, and eventually Tampa. Have you ever taken a ride on the Acela or one of Amtrak's overnight routes? I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments below. And let me know if this is something you'd be interested in seeing more of. I've always enjoyed train travel ever since I was a little kid when cruising around on my Little Tikes toy train. I think it is really something that is underrated here in the US, and I hope that by watching this, perhaps you would consider taking an Amtrak journey yourself. Be sure to subscribe to follow along for future travel adventures and learn more about my travel tips. If you hit the notification bell below, you'll be one of the first to know when I post a new video.
I got these growing pains when the
Travel helps us understand that no matter where we come from or what we belong to, we've all got a lot more in common with each other than we do in conflict. That's why I believe that travel helps us build a more peaceful planet, and maybe I'll see you on my next journey. Peace out.